Blessings and peace to you. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Thursday, January 26, 2023. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. So focus on what is good. It's just better to have positive, progressive thoughts to make you feel good and to project something good to happen. So focus on what is good. I hope that everyone is having a good morning. Here on the East Coast, it's early. And on the West Coast, it's very early. And around the world, who knows what time it is. But it's going to be a good day. And if you're out there traveling about, make sure that you are doing your part to stay safe and use your hand sanitizer. People are still becoming ill, and you have to do your part to stay safe and keep your family members safe. So do your part and stay safe. If you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App, $SB Favor. I thank you so much for your support and your donations. Well, I just wanted to come on and give you an inspirational quote. I am on the go a little bit this morning, so if you hear a little background noise, just ignore it and keep on listening. Don't be distracted because I am, like I said, on the move a little bit this morning. Well, my inspirational quote is, peace is a path that presents a choice to you to follow. All things don't deserve a response, but you can choose the path of peace. Well, a lot of times when we are going about our lives, having conversations with different people, sometimes you will be misunderstood. But you can walk in peace and not respond to being misunderstood. We all have somebody in our life that sometimes say the wrong thing. We all say the wrong thing. We all can potentially think the wrong thing. But what I'm saying is this. When you are in the midst of a conversation, if you are misunderstood, you don't have to respond. I know it sounds easier said than done, but there are some people that are just committed to opposing what you say. There are some people that no matter what you say or what you do, they will always oppose or try to discredit you. Now, I'm not saying this in a context of you taking on a negative thought and just keep thinking that. No, I don't want you to do that. But I want you to understand that sometimes people will misunderstand you. And I'm not saying it's okay, but what I'm saying is it doesn't deserve a reaction. Understand who you are talking to in the moment. And when you understand who you're talking to, then you can determine whether or not something deserves a reaction. Because we have a choice to choose the path of peace. And when I say choose the path of peace, I'm talking about peace in that relationship, peace in that conversation. Because some conversations can become heated. And we all don't like being misunderstood. But unfortunately, because many of us have a tendency to sometimes say the wrong thing, some people just blurt out anything. And when they blurt out something that doesn't agree with you, or if they blurt out something that offends you, or if it's something according to what I just said, them misunderstanding you, it doesn't deserve a reaction. Understand always who you are talking to. And when you understand that, keep the peace within yourself, not to respond to something when you are misunderstood. Every time I go through something, I always think about Jesus. I think about the life he lived. I think about it in terms of, his humanity. Not in a religious way, but just his humanity. Like, how did he respond to people when people spoke crazy to him and they said things that was not true? How did he respond? When people lied on him, when people misunderstood him, when people sometimes tried to gaslight him, how did he respond? Sometimes when a person misunderstands you, that's a place where they also will gaslight you. I put out an inspirational quote yesterday on social media, and it stated, a person will try to gaslight you with the intent to provoke the wrong conduct, then blame you. That's what gaslighting is. It provokes you to do something, and then the person that's doing the provoking, they will blame you for the entire thing, the entire incident, once they provoke the wrong conduct out of you. So what I'm saying to you is this. Everything does not deserve a response. And like I said, when I thought about Jesus and how he responded to things, I believe that Jesus didn't, I believe he didn't respond to nothing. I believe he just stayed quiet and he observed. And I know that's a difficult thing to do, because I've been in situations where I opened my mouth and I said things I shouldn't have said. And I tried to stay quiet even when I was being accused or misunderstood. That's a hard thing to do. But you know what? It can be done. It can be done. So, understand that you can choose the path of peace. And when I'm talking about peace, I'm talking about the peace within yourself and the peace that you can maintain in relationships with other people. You don't have to choose a path of conflict, because sometimes there are people that they are committed to opposing you. Some people are committed to discrediting you. No matter what you say, they will say something contrary to debate you. Those type of people, you got to just pull back. You got to pull back. You got to get quiet. You got to just let them have their moment to say whatever they want to say. But choosing the path of peace for you, that is essential so that you can maintain your spirit and your space to keep the right energy, the right spirit. Yeah. So, relationships can be challenging, but we can choose the path of peace. We don't have to give in to the conflict to have more conflict on top of conflict. We don't have to do that. We don't have to get into conflict so that now we all discombobulated and confused and in a space mentally where we shouldn't be. We don't have to do that. We just don't have to do that. So, my inspirational quote, I hope that it gives you something to think about. I hope that you will consciously think about staying on the path of peace, that path of peace within yourself, and that path of peace in your relationships. Because if a person that you are communicating with is not rational, and if they are not reasonable, and if they are not willing to understand what you are explaining, and if the person is not willing to be in a place of harmony in that conversation, you got to pull back, because you want to choose the path of peace. It's as simple as that. We don't always have to be right or make the other person believe that we're right. We don't have to do that. If you know that you are 100% on point about something and the other person continues to try to debate you and make you seem like you don't know what you're talking about, guess what? Just let it go and stay on the path of peace. When someone is committed to opposing what you say, I'm sure you know somebody like that. We all know somebody like that. They will oppose what you say. You can say the least and they'll say, no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. Why are some people like that? I don't know. But some people are that way. And when a person opposes you and you know that they do that consistently, constantly, or they may not just oppose you, they may discredit you. When they do that, guess what? It does not deserve a response. This is something I believe it can be prayed about, because I believe God will empower you to keep that quiet spirit, because a quiet spirit is really a type of strength. In silence, you can be fortified in strength. Defending yourself or speaking up all the time to tell somebody what they need to hear. Sometimes that's not powerful all the time. No, sometimes it's best to just pull back and don't say anything. It's best to do that, because when you do that, you are choosing the path of peace. That is something, what I'm explaining to you, that is something that I've been thinking about. And when we intentionally desire to walk in peace with all people, when we intentionally desire to walk in peace within ourselves, you can distance yourself and not be a part of the conflict. I mean, when you really think about it, what is it worth? If someone does not understand you, or they don't want to understand you, and they commit to misunderstanding you, or if the person just does not want to understand you, period, what can you do? Why should you keep explaining something if you are misunderstood? It's not worth it. It's not worth the fight. And I know being misunderstood, it's a hard thing, because I know what that feels like. I've been misunderstood many times. I can make a certain facial expression and somebody can misunderstand. We all have the ability to learn about one another, but sometimes, because of our faulty nature, people don't communicate or ask questions, so they assume. But when you explain yourself and someone continues to misunderstand you, guess what? At some point, you have to decide to choose that path of peace that I'm talking about. Peace within yourself, and peace that you have to maintain in your relationships. It's best to pull back and just not say anything, because you are choosing the path of peace. We all can learn how to communicate better. We all can learn how to understand others better if we want to, but some people are just not in that headspace to learn how to understand the next person. Some people only see things based upon their life experience. When someone thinks like that, they are not learning. They are absorbed with only their life and their life only. But to live this life and to communicate effectively and to live this life learning about others and having compassion and empathy for others, we should always see life views from different angles. Because when we see life views from different angles, then we get to understand someone else's shoes. Even though we have not lived in the other person's shoes, if we take the time to carefully listen to learn, then we can understand who we are dealing with. And through that, when we have conversations, we have more peaceful conversations. But like I said, choose the path of peace. Peace for yourself and peace for your relationships to stay in a place of harmony. It's so important. It's so important because in this hour that we live in, we have to make our lives count for something good. We can do that. We can make our lives count for something good. We don't have to live a life of constant conflict, constant drama, constant miscommunication, constant disapproval of this and that. We don't have to live that type of life. We can live a life when there is some level of conflict. It's quickly resolved. You don't have to be in the midst of a type of conflict where now it's messing with your peace. We don't have to live a life where the conflict is so heavy now you don't eat, or you're nervous, or you don't feel good. I believe that some things don't deserve a response, and I believe that we can choose a path of peace. Peace within ourselves and peace to maintain the harmony in relationships. When we do that, then we can do better. So, I thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and listen to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. I decided to give this inspirational quote this morning because this is what's on my mind. I hope that everyone have a good day and be progressive according to how you think. And remember that there is no limitation to goodness if you focus on the good that you can bring to any environment that you are in. There's no limitation to goodness. Because goodness motivates us. Goodness compels us to do better. Goodness keeps us in the space that God wants us to be in. So I thank you for tuning into this episode. And make sure you share the podcast with others. I appreciate you so much, listeners. All of your support, your feedback. I appreciate you so much. And please, if you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App, $SB Favor. I appreciate you so much. And you make sure that you be intentional about your day. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel that's also at sbfavor, and I also have a TikTok handle at sbfavor. You can find me on all podcast networks. I'm all over. If you listen to me on YouTube, make sure you click like, leave me some feedback, and as I stated, share the podcast with others. Your support is so important to me. So please consider giving, sharing, and subscribing. You can do no wrong with that. You can only do good. So I thank you for listening again. And you have a good day.